Do you believe that the first megacity on Earth 1, as vast as a modern metropolis like London, possessing technology centuries ahead of its time, once disappeared so completely that the world forgot it ever existed? Not partially destroyed, not slowly abandoned, but buried so deeply that history itself seemed to erase it. Only when archaeologists began digging into the hardened soil of the Middle East did the past suddenly awaken from the earth. And when it did, many people realized something astonishing. The Bible had described it thousands of years earlier. For centuries, this place lay silent beneath desert sands. Entire civilizations walked over its grave without knowing it. Greek soldiers once marched across the land. Persian traders passed by anonymous mounds of dirt. No one realized that beneath their feet rested the remains of one of the greatest and most terrifying empires of the ancient world. Its name was Nineveh. Welcome to Bible Reborn, where ancient scripture awakens and history breathes again. Today, we uncover the story of Nineveh, a city that once stood at the center of power, wealth, and technological brilliance in the ancient world, but also became a symbol of violence and ruthless conquest. What makes this story even more chilling is that its fate had been foretold long before its destruction ever happened. From around 850 to 612 BC, the Assyrian Empire was not merely a powerful nation. It was the superpower of the ancient world. When Assyrian armies marched, cities trembled behind their gates. Smaller kingdoms rushed to pay tribute rather than face annihilation. At the heart of this terrifying empire stood Nineveh, the crown jewel of Assyria. The Bible mentions Nineveh more than any other foreign capital. Yet for centuries, scholars used one particular verse to mock the Bible's credibility. In the Book of Jonah, chapter 3, verse 3, it says that Nineveh was such a great city that it took 3 days to walk across it. To many critics, this sounded like obvious exaggeration. Even the greatest cities of the ancient world, Rome or Babylon, did not require 3 days to cross on foot. Therefore, skeptics concluded that the Bible must have exaggerated the size of Nineveh. But the 19th century changed everything. When archaeologists began excavating near modern-day Mosul in Iraq, a shocking truth slowly emerged. Massive walls, enormous gates, royal palaces, and stone reliefs began appearing from beneath the earth. These discoveries revealed that Nineveh was not just a single city. It was the center of a vast metropolitan complex. Genesis chapter 10 records that Nimrod built a group of connected cities: Nineveh, Rehoboth, Calah, and Rezin. Together they formed what the Bible calls a great city. When archaeologists measured the entire urban region, including the satellite cities and surrounding settlements, the circumference was close to 100 kilometers. At the walking speed of an ancient traveler, crossing this entire urban region would indeed take about 3 days. What generations once ridiculed turned out to be astonishingly accurate. Jonah was not walking through a small town. He was traveling through a massive ancient megacity. Once again, archaeological history unexpectedly confirmed what the Bible had recorded thousands of years earlier. But the sheer size of Nineveh was only part of the story. What amazed historians even more was the technological sophistication of the Assyrian civilization. During the reign of King Sennacherib, the same ruler who once laid siege to Jerusalem, Nineveh, reached the height of its glory. He built an enormous royal complex known as the pickaxes, the palace without rival. This structure contained around 80 large rooms and nearly 2 miles of corridors, decorated with intricate stone reliefs. Those reliefs were more than art. They were history carved in stone. They depicted military
grain in Nineveh,
campaigns,
only
royal
3 shekels.
ceremonies,
Look at these colors.
and scenes
woven
from the
just
life of the
yesterday.
Assyrian
2 goats for
Empire.
the price of 1.
But they also revealed something darker. The immense power of Nineveh had been built through relentless warfare and conquest. One of the most intriguing mysteries connected to Nineveh involves one of the most famous wonders of the ancient world. For centuries, people believed that the Hanging Gardens of Babylon were one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Yet archaeologists have never found clear evidence of those gardens in Babylon itself. Some modern scholars now believe the gardens may have actually been located in Nineveh. Ancient Assyrian texts describe an advanced irrigation system designed to lift water from rivers up into elevated gardens. Some researchers believe the Assyrians used a spiral water lifting mechanism, similar to what we now call the Archimedes screw 300 years before Archimedes himself was born. They also built massive stone aqueducts stretching for many miles, carrying water from distant mountains into the city. In other words, Nineveh was not only enormous, it was a technological marvel of the ancient world. But behind that greatness lay a terrifying darkness. The Book of Jonah records that the city contained 120,000 children, those who could not yet distinguish their right hand from their left. Based on ancient population patterns, historians estimate the total population of Nineveh may have reached 600,000 people. That was an extraordinary number for the ancient world. To sustain such a population, the Assyrian Empire relied heavily on conquest, tribute, and forced labor from conquered nations. The reliefs discovered in Nineveh shocked many archaeologists. They depict prisoners being flayed alive, impaled on stakes, and publicly executed. Towers, made from the skulls of enemies, were raised as displays of power. The Assyrians did not hide these acts. They carved them into stone and displayed them proudly in their palaces. It was a clear message to every enemy: resisting Assyria meant unimaginable suffering. For this reason, the prophets of the Bible called Nineveh a bloody city, even describing it as a lion's den. And then something happened that no one expected. In 612 BC, the seemingly invincible empire collapsed with astonishing speed. A coalition of Babylonian and Median forces attacked Nineveh. But what makes the fall of the city remarkable is how closely the events matched prophecies written long before the destruction occurred. The prophet Nahum wrote that the city would be destroyed by an overwhelming flood, that the river gates would be opened, the palace would collapse, and fire would consume it. Historical records describe that during the summer of that year, a massive flood caused the Kosor River to overflow. The rising waters damaged sections of the city wall. Through those breaches, the enemy army poured into the city. Once they captured Nineveh, they set the palaces and great buildings on fire. Strangely, that very fire ended up preserving the history of Nineveh. Inside the royal library of King Ashurbanipal were tens of thousands of clay tablets containing ancient writings. When the palace burned, the intense heat baked those clay tablets like pottery, preserving them for thousands of years beneath the soil. Because of that accidental preservation, modern scholars have gained priceless knowledge about the ancient world. Myths, scientific texts, historical records, and royal documents all survived because of the destruction of Nineveh. After the city fell, the once glorious capital of Assyria was abandoned. Its irrigation systems collapsed,
If we overlay
canals
the
were
route
destroyed,
here, it matches the
and the
text
surrounding
exactly.
And the
land
scriptures
slowly
confirm
turned
the
into
location of the
marshland and
This changes
wilderness. The prophet Zephaniah had predicted that wild birds and desert creatures would inhabit the ruins. And when archaeologists first excavated the site in the 19th century, they found exactly that: a desolate landscape of grass-covered mounds, with no sign that a massive city once stood there. Today, the stone lions that once guarded the gates of Nineveh sit silently in museums in London and Paris. The reliefs that once proclaimed imperial power now stand as historical artifacts. An empire that believed itself invincible has long since turned to dust. The story of Nineveh is more than archaeology. It is a reminder about power, pride, and the fragile nature of human empires. The greatest cities can vanish. The mightiest kingdoms can collapse within a generation. Yet one thing has endured for thousands of years: the words recorded in Scripture. For many people, Nineveh stands as a powerful example of how history and biblical prophecy sometimes intersect in astonishing ways. What do you think about the story of Nineveh and its dramatic fall? Is it simply a coincidence of history, or a reminder that ancient prophecies may hold deeper truths than we often realize? If this video helped bring history and faith to life for you, share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoy exploring the place where archaeology meets the Bible, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. The journey of uncovering ancient truths with Bible Reborn has only just begun.